Yo, what to do, everybody? This is your boy, the Black God. They bring y'all another episode of JP Rants. I know I've been away for a while, but I just uploaded a video talking about my Boston Celtics this season and what their offseason plans can potentially look like and what I think the Celtics should do. My scenario, what they should do in terms of they should do with the pick, who should they go after, things like that. And so hopefully you were able to catch that as well. And without any further ado, let's get right into the business. So let's talk some NBA. Let's start with the All NBA teams since those were announced. Um, the All NBA first team was Russell Westbrook and James Harden at the guards. LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard at the forwards, and then Anthony Davis at center. I'll get to that in a second. The All NBA second team was my boy Isaiah Thomas from the Celtics, making it on the All NBA second team, along with Steph Curry at the guards. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Kevin Durant were the forwards, and then Rudy Gobert was the center, and then the All NBA third team was John Wall and DeMar DeRozan at the guards, with Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler at the forwards, and then DeAndre Jordan as the big man. Um, Noticeable snubs were Paul George and Klay Thompson, I guess. Paul George is more of a realistic argument over Jimmy Butler. Klay Thompson, I'm not taking anybody. I'm not taking any of the six guards off to make room for Klay Thompson. I'm sorry, Draymond. You can't always have it your way, bro. Why am I saying, bro? I hate your ass, dirty ass bitch. Anyway, um, Klay Thompson had a good year, but he did not have an All NBA season. He's not replacing Harden or Russ in the first team. He's not replacing his teammates Steph Curry or Isaiah Thomas on the second team, and he's not replacing John Wall on the third team. Arguable DeMar DeRozan, but with DeMar DeRozan, I think he had the fifth or sixth best scoring average in the league this year. There's no way that you're going to take DeMar DeRozan off for Klay Thompson. I'm sorry, it's not happening. And then with Paul George, like I said, you can make an argument taking Jimmy Butler off for him, but at the same time, I think for the most part, the All NBA teams got it right. The only problem that I personally have is that um, Anthony Davis should not have been voting on as a center because he played most of the season at the power forward spot after they traded for Boogie Cousins. And let's talk about how much of a travesty it was that DeMarcus Cousins didn't make any of the teams. Like in my personal opinion, if I'm taking one person off, I would take Jimmy Butler off, put Anthony Davis on the third team in the forward spot, bump Rudy Gobert up to the first team, bump DeAndre Jordan up to the second team, and then put Boogie Cousins on the third team. That's what I'm doing. Because you can't just put anybody at the big man spot. Like they have to play center. Like Anthony Davis, he does not play center. If he was playing center, he'd be injured probably way more than he already is. He's a power forward. How can you have a power forward being voted in that center? Like that's dumb. That's dumb. If that was the case, Draymond Green should have probably made All NBA first team at the big man spot. If they were going to do that, that's not how this works. So, like I said, for the most part, I think the All NBA team got it right, with the exception of I would have took off Jimmy Butler, put Davis at his spot on the third team, bump up Rudy Gobert and DeAndre Jordan one spot apiece. Rudy Gobert on the first team, DeAndre Jordan on the second team, and then put Boogie Cousins on the third team at the center spot. So that's my take with that. In terms of the playoffs, don't really care for it. Just like I didn't really care too much about the regular season outside of Boston. And obviously, Russell Westbrook set history with the 42 triple doubles in this season. My pick for MVP. Um, I'm just waiting for the finals, to be honest with you. Um, and I think us as fans got robbed by Golden State once again, but not because of their play. I guess kind of because of their play. Because I mean, when you have Draymond on your team, you're always gonna be, you know, labeled as a questionable team in terms of decency. But in case if y'all don't know, back in Game One of the Western Conference Finals between the Spurs and the Warriors, the Spurs had a 23-point lead with a little over 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter. And then Kawhi Leonard, who had just nicked up the ankle on a play before, I think a couple plays actually, was taking a step back jumper, and Zaza closed out on Zaza Pachulia, the Warriors center, who was almost voted into the All Star game as a starter, by the way, which that's completely flawed. But anyway, um, and instead of doing a traditional shot contest, which we all know NBA players at this point of their careers, especially with Zaza being the 12-year veteran, should know how to freaking contest a shot by now. But uh, not only does he not use proper technique to contest a shot, he also takes a step forward and puts his foot deliberately under the landing spot of Kawhi Leonard. Thus, Kawhi Leonard lands on his foot, rolls up his ankle, and he is now probably most likely done for the playoffs. And then, of course, obviously, Golden State goes on a huge run to win by 2 points in Game One, and now have blown the Spurs off the floor in the last two games, Game Two in particular. And now they have a commanding 3-0 lead. They're going to the finals. Cleveland's been steamrolling through Boston like freaking a hot knife through butter. And they'll be going into the NBA Finals. Perfect 12-0. Golden State most likely will be 12-0 as well. I wouldn't risk Kawhi at this point. There's no way that the impact of Kawhi can help the Spurs win 4 consecutive games to go to the finals. It's not going to happen. So instead of risking further injury, just throw the towel, throw the damn towel. My boy from freaking Rocky 4. Throw the damn towel. Just throw the towel on the season, man. It's over. It's over. Kawhi can't make up for you. So, you know, Zaza Pachulia is a dirty ass dude, man. We've seen his dirty plays just in the last couple of years, but he was even like that when he was with Atlanta. Um, he's a dirty player. I mean, when you're a teammate with Draymond, I mean, you're probably gonna pick up some of his habits anyway. So, I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, they robbed us of a possible opportunity for Kawhi Leonard at the peak of his career to go up against LeBron at, as crazy to say this, at the peak of LeBron's career. Because like I said, he's been playing the best basketball of his career this postseason. Been playing the best basketball of his career. That is crazy to say. LeBron's in his 14th season, playing with no pressure, and he's playing the best basketball of his career. That's crazy. That's crazy to think. That is crazy to think. So this finals matchup is going to be epic. And we're going to have to see the very best of LeBron because he's going to have to defend somebody on the Warriors, whether it's Durant or whether it's Thompson. He's going to have to defend one of those guys. He won't be able to play, safety in this in that series like he's doing with Boston, where he doesn't have to necessarily guard anybody. He can just play middle fielder and freaking just go ahead and just get steals and start the break. He can't do that against Golden State because he's gonna have to guard somebody. And with Kyrie Irving not being the greatest defender, one of those dudes is about to be the Finals MVP if Golden State wins, and I think it's gonna be Durant of the three because they're gonna feel we have to guard Curry, we have to guard Klay Thompson, and they might just let Durant because we've seen in moments, although Kevin Durant has had some good closing moments, closing out games, he's also had some blunders as well. So they'll probably be like, if any of these three guys have to take the last shot and Kyrie has to guard him, it's gonna be Durant. So we'll see. My pick for that series, it's a good question. I'm leaning towards the Warriors in 7 right now, which I don't want to happen. I'm kind of caught in the middle of two evils here because, I don't want the team that steamrolled through us to freaking go ahead and win the championship. But it's like at the same time, if anybody's going to win the championship and it's not us, I want it to be the team that knocked us out, at least. So I'm caught in no man's land. Plus, I've been critical of LeBron James his entire career up until a few years ago, and everything like that. So, I mean, it is what it is at this point. I'm caught in no man's land. So, like I said, I think the Warriors win in 7, but I won't be surprised if Cleveland won it. And I think it will be Kevin Durant that wins the finals every year. So now we talked about the playoffs a little bit. Let's talk about the draft a little bit. The Celtics won the draft lottery because they had the Nets pick. The Lakers finished second, which was a good thing because if their pick fell out of the top 3, not only would they have lost their pick to Philly this year, but they would have lost their 2019 first round pick to Orlando as well. So that would have been tragic for the Lakers, especially since they're trying to put themselves in the position right now to try to get Paul George next off season, not this upcoming off season, but next off season, so that they could bring him to Lakerland. That would have been tragic for them to lose this pick. And after watching some videos, actually, a lot of people aren't as high as on Lonzo Ball. With good reason, because the last time we saw him play, freaking got cooked by De'Aaron Fox, who isn't even in the league yet. So just imagine what if he does get drafted by the Lakers, how he's going to get cooked up by those Western Conference guards, Westbrook, Curry, Harden, freaking Chris Paul if he stays in with the Clippers, freaking just to name a few guys. It seems like every Western Conference team already has at least a quality point guard that will make Lonzo Ball work defensively. And he's not the greatest defender. He's not. He's a great floor general. He's a decent scorer, I guess. He can shoot a little bit, but defensively he's just terrible. Like I said, he got cooked by De'Aaron Fox, who doesn't even have the greatest outside game. So, I've heard people say that Lonzo Ball isn't even in the top 3 in terms of best players of this draft. And that the Lakers should actually draft Josh Jackson. I've been hearing Josh Jackson linked to a number of places, namely Phoenix at 4, and the Lakers at 2. The Celtics are a wild card because they're in a position right now where they don't necessarily have to draft a player in this draft. And if they do, that means that one of their existing players, probably most likely Marcus Smart, since he'll have the most trade value, will be out of their way to Boston in the coming weeks. So they're kind of a wild card right now. So I won't say anything definitive. I will say though, if they do decide to keep the pick, they'll probably draft Markelle Fultz, and that will be interesting, I guess. But it is what it is. Philly's another interesting spot because they have Joel Embiid, they have Dario Saric, they have Ben Simmons, so they have a great front line. They need a shooter. So, a video that I watched by a YouTuber that I'm subscribed to, a Funky Diabetic. He actually put out a video recently talking about how Philly could potentially trade back to draft Malik Monk, who will be probably their best fit. And an interesting trade scenario popped up into my head recently between the teams that are at 3 and 4, Philadelphia and Phoenix. Phoenix, I think, will be all in on Josh Jackson. And I think Philly can hold a little bit of leverage there. They could go ahead and trade them the number 30 overall pick in exchange for the 4th pick and Eric Bledsoe, if they decided that they wanted to move on from Eric Bledsoe. And I think that would be a great thing because they'll go ahead and get their Their starting backcourt potentially with Monk, and then also adding Eric Bledsoe, adding him to Ben Simmons, which he's going to need a little help at the beginning, which that will be what Eric Bledsoe is there for, to help him out in the beginning. And then, he could either be, just a rental for like half the season, and then you can just move him and get more of a scoring guard, since you have Ben Simmons playing, being the playmaker for you anyway. So that was a interesting trade proposal that I thought about, with Philly moving back, since obviously they could probably move back all the way further, as far down as 7 probably, and still be able to get their man in Malik Monk. So this draft should be interesting. I'm expecting a few trades in the top 10, whether teams are trading up or trading back. I'm expecting a few trades, probably about 3 or 4 with the top 10. Probably with the biggest one probably being Boston. Probably figuring out a way to trade for Jimmy Butler. Um, but like I said, if the Celtics decide to remain in the draft, they'll go with Markelle Fultz. And this offseason, a lot of things are going to have to change. Players are going to have to change places. More mainly, the 2 biggest names that I'm focusing on right now are Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, who both actually play for the Clippers. I'm expecting both of them to move on. Um, I'm expecting Blake Griffin to possibly return to Oklahoma and play for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I'm expecting the Thunder to go ahead and then move Victor Oladipo, because I thought it was a terrible mistake for them to make the Victor Oladipo trade anyway. What we saw this year, Victor Oladipo just cannot play off the ball. He just cannot. He's not a great shooter, so he's not helping Westbrook at all. And he's best when he has the ball in his hands. So with Westbrook handling most of the ball handling duties, he needs a guard in the backcourt that is a catch and shoot guy, or a catch, step in, take a shot. Not a guy that needs the ball in his hands in order to be successful. Which is why I thought them, like I said, trading for Victor Oladipo in the first place when you have Westbrook was a huge mistake, and they learned that this year. So I don't think Oladipo will be in OKC next season. Who knows? He actually thinking about it now. He might, just because of the contract extension he got. I don't know if anybody wants to pay that much for Victor Oladipo, especially since he didn't improve at all this season. His numbers across the board were pretty similar to his best numbers in Orlando when he was the man. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. But my wild card actually is Kyle Lowry, because he already admitted that he will be opting out and he will be becoming an unrestricted free agent. Now, will he move on from Toronto? I don't know. My heart's saying no, but I'm saying if Chris Paul stays in Los Angeles with the Clippers, watch out for San Antonio to possibly make a play for Kyle Lowry, because I think he will be the perfect player to go ahead and put at that point guard spot to play off of Kawhi Leonard and LaMarcus Aldridge. A good rebounder at the guard spot, a guy that could give you 20 and still give you between 6 to 8 assists a game. And he can shoot the ball. So I will watch. I think Kyle Lowry to the Spurs would be a wild card move. Watch out for Gordon Hayward as well if he does decide to opt out. Obviously, Boston's in play with the Brad Stevens connection. But my heart is just telling me that he's going to stay in Utah. He's going to stick it out one more year there, just to see what happens, and then make a play next off season. So we'll see with that. But there's not really much left to talk about until the awards show. I'll have to go ahead and look up who the finalists are for each award, so I can talk about who I think should be the winner of those awards individually. I know a few, but I don't know them all. So with that, that's the end of this one, y'all. Wasn't much of a rant as I thought it was going to be, but hey, I'm jumping back into the game. So, I've been away for about a month. So, gotta go ahead and ease myself back in. But if y'all enjoyed the video, leave your opinions in the comment section below on everything we talked about today. Leave a like if you did. Leave a thumbs down if you didn't. And if you enjoy videos like this, I make videos like this as often as I can. I got more free time recently, so I'll be able to make more. Who knows? I might make another video today. Who knows? But and I'll also have the Twitter linked in the description box below. When I get a chance, I'll put that in all my videos, so you can go ahead and follow me on Twitter and learn when the next uploads will be, or when I'm planning to make videos, so you can be on the lookout for the video. So, with that being said, have a great day, everybody. Continue to stay blessed. And this is your boy, The Black Mondi, signing out. Peace.